in my real life, I'm an educator, so I'm going to make you talk to each other. We have something called elbow buddies in elementary school. It might be in all schools, I don't know. But basically, you just talk to the person who's next to you. So, I want you to think about these questions. What is host coaching? How do you do it well? And why is this important? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to talk to the person next to you about those 3 things. Are you ready? Go.
What's host coaching? How do we do it? By following up with them, just making sure we don't lose time. And I always feel like not to 5 seconds left. Not to assume that they know what they're doing. So how do you do it well? That's a big question.
All right. If you can hear my voice, clap once.
Okay.
If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. Welcome to the education world. So, what is host coaching? Who can give me like a quick, what is this about? What is host coaching? Anybody? Yell it out. Come on, Lisa B.
Getting your host to help you get a better party, more them interacting with the guests and liking posts and getting them to post things for you and being involved in the party so that your party's more successful.
Okay, good. And I heard some different people talking about that interaction piece, right? You want your host to interact in their party. If they don't do anything, if they're not commenting, if they're not posting, your party's not going to be as successful as it can be. So we're going to talk about how you can do it and why it's, why is it important? Obviously, you want to have a good show. You want your host to get lots of free stuff, right? You want to make it a great experience because that will help you book future parties, right? So, timing. For me, it's all about timing. How far in advance do you start communicating with your host? So for me, this depends on when they booked. I have hosts who are like, okay, I will book a show, but I can't book until, and it's like 3 months down the road, right? And I'm like, okay, so I put them on my calendar. It's important to touch base with them before their party starts. You can't send them a message the day before and be like, hey, your party starts tomorrow, you ready to go? So make sure that you're thinking about that timing piece. If I have someone who's booked a couple weeks in the future, or a couple months in the future, I'll send them a message like 2 weeks before. Hey, I'm so excited for your party. And I think I wrote it up here. Yeah, I'm so excited for your party to start next week. I'm going to be setting up your event or your group or whatever. I'll be giving you more information later. And they're like, okay, great. And it just kind of puts that seed in their mind like, oh, that's right, I have this coming up. All right, and then once you create the group or event, which for me I do, my parties start on Friday. I usually create my events like Sunday or Monday of the week before. I will send them a message and I'll be like, all right, I created your group. You should have something in your notifications. So you kind of have to teach them how to use groups and events. And then I tell them to go ahead and start inviting, and I give them directions about how many people to invite at a time, which is always changing with Facebook because they love us so much. But you have to give them that information or they don't know how to do it. They don't know what they're doing. And then 2 to 3 days before their party starts, your host should be posting something on their wall, okay? Sometimes their guests don't check their notifications. Sometimes their guests don't know how to check their notifications. So have them post something. This is usually what I have my people post on their personal wall. And it just says, I'm excited to be hosting an online paper chef party. If you haven't seen it, make sure you look in your notifications. If I haven't invited you and you want to be part of it, let me know. And then I go back and look on their wall and make sure they actually did it. Sometimes they don't. And then I'll send a message, hey, I didn't see your post. Can you make sure you post that? And then the day before the party is slated to begin, make sure you communicate your expectations. What do you want them to do, okay? I totally stole this from somewhere. I don't even know. It might be somebody in this room. Sorry. But it's a graphic, and it says how to have an amazing Facebook party. And it gives them points about what they need to do. Stay involved. collect outside orders. So they might have people at work or something like that that's not on Facebook. I can't remember what else it says. But then it has like examples of how successful their party can be. I also will sometimes just send them a list. Sometimes it depends on the host. But I make sure that they know a few things. I'm going to be sending them a post every day for them to post in the party. They need to do that, okay? I make sure they know that they need to participate. Because of the settings on Facebook, sometimes their guests will only see the stuff that they're posting or commenting on, so they really need to participate. And then I talk about the games that we play every day, and then, the outside orders. And then I usually send a message after that, and I'm like, hey, watch how easy this is, because you could totally be on my team. Kind of get in that little recruiting bit. All right, so, raise your hand if you do online parties, virtual parties. Okay, yes. Yeah, that was out loud, Steve. Who uses events? Yeah, so I used to use events, and then they stopped letting me schedule posts, so I was like, okay. I'm a teacher, I can't be posting all day long, so I switched to groups. Who uses groups? A lot of people use groups. Okay, so your language is going to be a little bit different depending on what you're using. So just be careful about the directions that you're giving them. Let me make sure I got all my stuff. Okay, so if you're using groups, you want your host to post on their personal wall with a link to their party, because that will give them a direct way to get into the party. Sometimes people don't like clicking in all different kinds of places. So if you give them a link right on their personal wall, their friends will see it and they'll click on it. If you're using events, you want your host to message the people, and if you look on, if you look in events, Steve?
If you look at events, when you see the people that they've invited, the host, you can see people that are the maybe, that click maybe, and those that have seen the invite but not clicked anything. And you always want to instruct, and the language is there and I can share it. You want to instruct your host and say, hey, I usually have my host send a personal message to all the people that have clicked maybe and everybody that has seen it but not clicked anything, because those people probably want to be a part of your party. For some reason, they just thought they might want to be interested, or they overlooked it, maybe they were in the grocery store or whatever. But this personal touch will help them know that you want them to be a part of what you're doing with your party.
Right, okay, so you're looking for those people, and it'll say next to their name, seen. So those are the people that you kind of want to target, because you know that they've actually seen the invite. Yes, Lisa B.
I have noticed that a lot of people, when they do that, they automatically say, see party, and they think they have to go somewhere. So it's like, and even though you've put on there, this is an online show, sometimes if your host goes back and says, hey, this is an online party,
Right.
you don't have
stay
to
on your
go
couch, you don't have to go
anywhere,
anywhere. Right.
then they'll click that they want to go. Because as soon as they see party, they're like, oh my God, I've got 5 kids, I can't go anywhere. So that has helped me a lot, because they've seen it and thought they had to go somewhere.
Right, awesome, thank you.